G'day guys, it's the Rookie Entrepreneur. How you going? Finally I get to explain to you guys a little bit more about my business and how I came about coming up with the concept and hopefully give you some tips and some advice on that might help you guys come up with your own concept or move forward with an idea that you already may have. So I think the main point is, and from what my experience and what I've learned from these other entrepreneurs who have made it or are already successful, is that they seem to solve problems. So if you think of a problem and you can come up with a solution and it's going to be viable, or it might help efficiency, or it might eliminate that problem altogether, I think you're on a winning course there from the start. The hardest step is actually taking some action. So let's get into my business. My business is called Addition Works. It's an environmental initiative. It's going to help clean up roadside litter and promote tourism in our country of Australia. So I see litter as a big problem. It's messy, it's ugly, it's costing our government well over $200 million a year just in roadside litter, just picking up that litter from in our gutters and on the sides of our road and around our parks and stuff like that. So the day when I sort of come up with it, if you haven't seen my website already, I go into the story there, so I'll just briefly run down. But so me and my partner, we had our little son Liam. He was premature, and so during that period where I was in the hospital in the intensive care sort of unit, we ate a lot of fast food, sitting at the park, quickly get back in the hospital. Sitting there one day, we're watching this litter removal pickup in the highway, big operation. I used to be a supervisor in roadworks and have an understanding of the dynamics of how it works and all the implications, like the traffic management plans and all that's involved. And on a busy highway, it's our state's main highway, substantial costs are involved in cleaning up that litter. Anyway, we're sitting there, we were eating McDonald's ourselves, and we're looking, and there was litter everywhere, all up the sides and the fences, in the middle of the highway. It's Coca-Cola, Dare, McDonald's, KFC, Hungry Jack's, you name it. There are all these brands. Now, this can't look good for the companies themselves, these brands that we see everywhere on the side of the road. So there was two aspects, there was two problems that I was looking at. One was the problem of our taxpayers' money paying for this. Two was the environmental impact that this has. The third problem was the image that this relates back to those brands. And I said to my partner, and the fourth problem is tourism. It really affects our tourism. There was an article in the Mercury, I think it was February the 18th, 2016, where some tourists had come here, drove around the state. We're meant to be the clean green state of Australia. And they said they've seen better third world countries in regards to roadside litter. And when I read that, I thought, well, this isn't good enough. What can we do about it? For starters, I had this day where I've seen it there and the costs for this operation and the bad negative image that it portrays on these companies like McDonald's and so on. So what was my first step? Okay, what problem? How can we solve these problems? What are the problems? So there's the problems I just explained. Okay, how can we make a solution? Well, there's a negative image on these brands. I know these brands spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every year on advertising. They spend these on billboards. Some of these billboards that they'll pay $100,000 a month just for one billboard that stands there, it's stagnant, gets graffitied on, rained on, deteriorates, doesn't really contribute back to society. Okay, right, so I know they want to advertise. What about if our cleanup crews, you've got large trucks or vehicles, trailers, you've got all this equipment, you could have advertising all on these equipment, on the workers' uniform. What is it advertised? So you're getting that visual display. So that's solving that problem. That's a solution for them. Instead of spending their money there, spend it on this advertising. This is helping the environment, their local communities. It's dragging their brand and connecting it directly to their local communities. It's sending a great message to the younger generation and to everyone, the society in general. This isn't good enough. Australia, we should not have this litter problem. Let's clean up our act. Let's make our place the most beautiful place in the world, because it is. or arguably, and and we can promote our business at the same time. So it's solving a problem. It's solving another problem with the government. All this money, so that $200 million or over $200 million that they're spending every single year, that could go towards other causes. So that could help the health system, the education system. Like we have a lot of homeless families. I've just signed my name up with St. Vincent's de Paul's to do some volunteer work, helping the homeless children is a very big one for me. These kids who the parents want to let them down a bit. I met a couple of kids a few years ago, and they were 12 or 13, these brothers, and both their parents were drug addicts and abandoned them, and they live in these tunnels and these, under pieces of tin in different spots around Hobart. And so when I went into St. Vincent de Paul's, they told me that there's 3,500 homeless just in Tasmania. And Tasmania is only very small compared, we're 2.2% of the Australia's population, so no, that's a big number and that's scary. So how can we help these kids? How can we give them a bit of guidance? So now here's this addition works is saving the environment. Now with the environment, the roadside litter has massive implications. So it affects our local natural wildlife and habitat. It gets into our drains, into our sewage, into our drainage water systems, gets out to sea, and there's an island out in the Atlantic Ocean, and this is larger than Tasmania. It's just like stuck in a big swirl and a big current, and this island is just rubbish. It's just bottles and lids and cigarette butts and the beer things that get stuck around birds' necks and turtles, and it has this huge impact on our marine life, on our natural wildlife, and so how can we fix this? So we're helping that problem. We're helping the corporates, the companies who are going to jump on board with this advertising. So we're going to advertise all over our vehicle, all over the trailer. It's going to be wrapped in there. So you could just imagine, say, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola all over the vehicle, all over the trailer, on our workers' uniforms, on some of the equipment, on the cones on the side of the road, just a little sign. And it's really going to stand out. And there's some statistics also here with advertising which solves the problems. So what it is, it's solving problems. Constantly solving problems. So I could name probably 15 different problems that this is going to solve. So really, and like it says on our emblem, it's the perfect equation. Advertising, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars. Adobe Software done a study on advertising, and it's saying, so digital advertising is our largest sector, but it's only getting 8% customer attention, so people are just swiping past. The best one still is the old print advertising, the newspapers in the catalogues and stuff. That's getting 26%. TV advertising is getting 22%, but that's mainly live sport, normal TV and so forth. In ads, a lot of people, yourself, would go to the toilet, or they might go get something to eat, or they'll have a conversation with, a family member or friend. Then you've got the billboards at 14%. So these billboards, we all see them. We're in our cars the whole time, and most of the time we're driving past it, saying 14%. So every 10 people that drive past this sign, they're not taking, one and a half people are taking notice. The rest are just driving past, thinking about their daily chores, their work needs and family needs and all those sorts of things, and we're all guilty of it. So, but there's all this money getting wasted. Let's do something proactive. Let's do something that's helpful for the environment, great for your company brand, great for your image. It's setting an example for the rest of the world. It's just a beauty. So I'm solving all these problems. Okay, the next problem is, how do I make this happen? So I had this great idea. I thought, yes, it works there. It solves this problem there, solves that problem there. What am I going to do next? So then it comes down to research. So think about your idea. Do that. You've got to take that action. And it doesn't take much. We're all connected to the internet these days. So I jumped on, and the first thing I did, how much is our government spending on it? You've got to search here, there, and it takes a while to gather all that information. And that's where I found we're spending over $200 million a year. So I'd like to take a big chunk of that, and we can help that towards youth at risk. That's another thing Addition Works will be doing. We're going to be employing these youth at risk. So these kids who have grown up, haven't been led the right way, they're going to have a mentor. So we're going to screen them. We're going to educate them first. We're going to make sure their behaviour's right, really help them out for their future in life and their future family, and give them some hope, and really they'll feel good because they're helping their community as well, and it's just going to help everyone. So that's a big one for me. Donate. We're going to donate 10% of our profits to homeless children. Like I said, it's a big. I've got 5 boys of my own. When I met these 2 boys, which was 8 or 10 years ago, I cried on the way home because you know, it touched my heart that I felt so bad for I gave them the last $20 in my pocket, and you know, it was just heartfelt for me. So I want to make a difference. I grew up in a bit of a rough background, a rough suburb in Tasmania. I know these kids. I know them personally. They're my age now, and you know, half of them turned out right, but half, you know, went the other way. There's 2 directions you can go, and I want to help these kids go in the right direction, like myself. So I played up. I wasn't an angel. I've got in trouble with the law when I was younger, and these sorts of things, but eventually got led in the right direction. I had a few key role models in my life who led me in the right direction. Football was a great one and helped me. I've worked some great jobs. I've worked underground as a miner doing explosives. That was a good one. Supervisor on a roadworks, like I said, and supervisor on a farm. So I turned out not too bad, and I want to help these kids and improve their life. So this ticks so many boxes, and it's going to help so many people and myself. So I've had a work injury, as I've said before in previous interviews. I've buggered my back. I need to have an operation on my back. Hopefully that fixes it and I can get right. I'm doing all this physio and stuff. So it's helping me. This whole project has helped me keep my things together and keep me occupied while I've been off work. So my first step was doing that research. So I found out the government was spending that amount of money. Okay, let's look into the litter side of things. How much is really out there? What's going on? What brands are what? And I'll tell you, those statistics are amazing. We do this litter index branded study every 4 or 5 years. And you just imagine which companies are the biggest ones, and the main one, which I won't mention names on here, but 68% of the food packaging is theirs that's found on the side of the road. 68% just of the food package. So this index is categorised into 8 different categories. There's the drink bottles, there's the smoke butts, there's the food wrappers and containers, and all these different sort of general rubbish. So there's 8 different categories just out of the food packaging. It's this one major company, which I'm sure you all know who they are, is 68%, and the rest is spread out over the others. These are the companies that's not good for them. Let's boost their image. It's going to create business for them. So who's their customers? They're these users who are using the road, and what a better way to advertise. So these billboards, some of these billboards that are $100,000 a month, they're colossal. They're 6 metres high by 18 metres long, but they're way back off the highway. They're way back off in the distance, and they're just, you know, small like this in our perspective. We're closer to the road. Roadworks is designed to grab people's attention and to say, look at me, or slow down, there's something going on here. And so you've grabbed their attention already. It's going to be 100% strike rate. Like I said before, we've got this customer attention rates. Digital was 8%, the print 26%, the TV 22%, the billboards 14%. This is going to be 100% or 80% at least, let's say. There might be a few monkeys that are just drive, you know, who knows, they're probably doing the wrong thing on their phone, but, you know, it's going to get the customer's attention. First thing they're going to look, oh, well, this is new, this stands out. We're closer, we're moving. We've got those 4 elements that our eyes focus. So there's other studies that say there's 4 main things that we focus on as soon as we open our eyes. First one is moving objects. Second one is the signalling colours, the red, orange and yellow. So that's like the vests and stuff, that you have to wear, these safety high-vis vests. The third one is high contrast objects, and the other one is large objects. So we've got all that in perspective. We might not be as big as this colossal sign, but we're closer, so we're bigger in perspective. We've got those signalling colours, that's roadworks colours. It's wrapped all around our vehicle. You're doing a great job. And then they're going to say, what a great job. So it's going to tick an RAS. There's a part of our brain called the RAS, the reticular activator system, and the best way to explain it is like when you buy a new car, you'll notice that car all the time. You just seem to notice it. So that's what this concept's going to bring too. So now once they see other litter strewn stretches of road, they're going to think about your company coming along and cleaning it up. So you might not even be there, and they go, wow, that's it, the Coca-Cola crew. They'll be here soon to pick it, or it might be the McDonald's crew, and it can be anyone. So these companies, it doesn't even have to be these fast food giants or these large soft drink giants. You could be a tyre company. That's your customers. So they're driving along, and they're thinking about, oh, I need to get tyres. It's that time of the year. They're starting to squeak and make a bit of a noise. I'm going to have to get my tyres. They see Bridgestone or Goodyear or Tassie Tyres, because we're in Tasmania. They see this company. They're your customer, your direct customer. They're probably going to drive straight into your shop. And it's no different like chocolate bars and stuff like it. Could be Cadbury's, it could be Nestle's. You know, and they've got Nestle's all over the vehicle, they've got Cadbury's all, and they've got their colours and slogans, and on the uniform, the customers are really going to connect with their brand, and they're going to be loyal. So they might stop at the servo to get some fuel, and they go in there, and there's a Nestle's chocolate bar and a Cadbury's chocolate bar. Who are they going to pick? They've just seen Cadbury's, or they've seen Nestle's, vice versa, doing this great job for the community, helping at the local parks. This is just going to be great for our society, great for our tourism industry, which Australia relies on so heavily, and it's just a great thing in general. So there it is. There's my concept. It's a matter of taking those actions, do that research, and then make the first step. Send a letter. I sent my letter to a couple of councils first, and then I found out which ones are the southern councils down here, and I sent them all a letter with my concept. One of the councils got back, which I talked about previously in a video. Clarence City Council, they're great. That gave me a bit of credibility. I just made that contact. I passed high school. I've done a few TAFE courses, but like I've said before, 80% of self-made millionaires are high school dropouts, because we have a different frame of mind. So don't believe just because you're not academically the best one, you didn't go very well at school. Even did these guys. But they just took action, and people see that, and they'll see it in your character. And you just have a go, and you're going to fail. They all say you're going to fail 100 times, but it's not failing; it's learning. And have a go, get out there, have a dip. I've told you about my business. I'm still going. Now I'm in the stage where I've got the government on board. I've got Stornoway, who are nationwide, and they cover our state highways and with road maintenance and those sorts of things. They're going to invest a lot of infrastructure into this. They're going to help with this youth at risk. It's great for them. It's great for our government. It's great for our tourism. It's going to create jobs. It's going to advertise these businesses like they've never been advertised before. So it's something new too, and it's going to stand out. So it's better. It's better than all the old stuff. Internet's overcrowded. This old advertising, we've all seen it before. Half of it ends up in the gutters, and we'll be picking it up anyway. So what a great idea. I want to hear from you guys. Come up with solve some sort of problem, make something a little. If you're in a workplace, it doesn't matter, you don't have to be starting your own business. Just look for those problems, and you'll work your way up in that company. It might be such a little problem like I worked in a chicken factory a long time ago, and there was a problem when they were tipping the big tubs of chickens down to go on this boning line, and it was, there was ice all amongst the chickens. And it used to fall down. It used to get in the first bloke who used to put these chickens on the line. A lot of the ice would end up coming down into his gumboots, and you'd hear these people complain about it all the time. Something simple, right? But then the chicken frames would be sucked up and go out the back somewhere into a big container, into a big bin, and that had to be changed regularly because it would get warm and start going, the smell and bacteria and all that sort of stuff. But the ice was falling down, it'd fall down, just go down the drain. But it was, as it was coming off this shelf, it would go down into this bloke's gumboots all the time, or a couple of their gumboots. And one day I sat there and I said, well, how about we just put a cover there? That'll make the ice go down to where these frames get pushed along, get sucked up and go out the back. So the ice went with the chickens. Kept that so they didn't have to move this bin as many times. It kept that fresh, solved that problem, solved his gumboot problem, and it was so simple. It cost them probably $15 for a little bit of stainless steel. Welded it in, bang. So if you're at work, look for these little problems, solve them. That'll get you like promotions in work. Management will be happy with, so it makes them look good, makes you look good, and makes everyone happy. So it's all about looking for the problems and taking action. And maybe it doesn't work the first time, maybe it doesn't work the second, maybe it takes 10 shots at that dartboard to hit the bullseye. But if we all have a go, I'm sure you can do it. I better get going. I don't want to make this too long. Thank you very much. Please subscribe. Patrick Bet David. Please share my videos around if you can. I'm trying to get out there. I'm just a regular Joe Blow having a dip. If you could share this on Facebook, I'd be muchly appreciated. Watch all those other guys too. There's a lot of motivation out there. Just have a shot. We're all capable of doing it. We're all made of the same material. It's just taking action. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next video.